Hello students, welcome back to another video, and we are going to continue with our marathon using the CSEC syllabus to study for our examination. Alright, so this is part 2 of the information technology syllabus. If you have not yet seen part 1, go over to my channel and watch that video. Alright guys, as I always tell my students, studying from the past papers, very good. However, all the questions that are on the past paper were taken from the syllabus. So they look at the topics that the teachers were given to teach you from the syllabus, and that is where they set the questions from. So if you study from your syllabus, I can assure you that it will assist you in getting that grade 1 that you so rightfully deserve. All right, guys, so we're going to continue looking at section 4, and it is applications and implications of information and communications technology. Now, we're going to look at the internet and communications technology with specific objectives. Now, if you're going to answer questions from the internet and communication technology section, there are objectives that you must know, and we're going to try to go through these objectives as much as we can in this video. Now, students should be able to use terms associated with data, communications, and network. So we're going to define these words, as much of these words as possible. All right, so we're going to look at definitions of data, communication, and network. Now, data communication is the process of transmitting digital or analog data between two or more devices using a transmission medium such as cables, fiber optics, or wireless signals. Now, the main goal is to enable the exchange of data and information between computers or other devices. Now we are going to define the word network. Now, a network is a collection of two or more connected devices, such as computers, phones, or servers that are linked together to exchange data and information. We are also going to look at the types of networks: local area network, wide area network, metropolitan area network. Now, let us start by looking at the first type of network, local area network, also called LAN, L-A-N. A local area network connects computers and other devices within a small area, such as a room, building, or school. Now, a local area network, as we said, covers a small area. It has high speed and is usually owned by one organization or person. Examples of local area network would include a school computer lab where you have all the computers being connected to each other. The Wi-Fi that you use at home would be an example of local area network because it connects your phone, your laptop, your smart TV. Also, if you work in an office, the office network would be an area of local area network because it's connecting employees' computers to a printer and file server. Now we're going to look at what do we mean by metropolitan area network. Now a metropolitan area network, MAN, covers a large area than the local area network. It usually connects networks across a city or large campus. So as we said, it covers a city or town. It connects multiple local area network, and it can be public or private. Now, an example of a metropolitan area network would be, let's look at a university campus that connects all the buildings and departments on that campus. A city-wide Wi-Fi network provided by the local government. That would be an example of metropolitan area network. All right, we can go to the hospital in the same city, sharing medical records over a common network. All right, so when we talk about metropolitan area network, it covers a larger area than the local area network. Now, what do we mean by wide area network, WAN, which is another type of network? Now, a wide area network covers a very large area, often a country or the entire world. It connects multiple local area network and also metropolitan area network over long distances. Now, it's slower in terms of the speed. It is slower than the local area network or the metropolitan area network. All right, so it covers a large geographical area. Now, examples of wide area network would be the Intranet, which is said to be the largest example of wide area network. Let's look at a bank's network connecting branches in different cities or countries. A multinational company's network connecting its offices all around the world. That would be an example of wide area network. So if you get any question asking you about network, remember that there are three types of networks: local area network, wide area network, and metropolitan area network. Now we are to look at the types of transmission media. The types of transmission media are cable or wired media, which includes examples like coaxial, fiber optic, and twisted pair. So we're going to explain what the types of transmission media means. Now, what do we mean by transmission media? Transmission media are the physical path or channels through which data is transmitted from one device to another in a network. Now, there are two main types of media: wired media, wireless media. Now, we're going to focus on wired media transmission media because the syllabus says the types of transmission are cabled wired media. Now, cable wired media uses physical cables to transmit data between devices. They provide high speed and secure data transmission over short to long distances. An example of twisted pair cable as a type of transmission media is the Ethernet cable that is used in most home and office network. So, for example, we have category 5E Ethernet cable. This is very common type of twisted pair cable used to connect computers, routers, switches, and other network devices in a local network. It carries data signals using pairs of copper wires twisted together to reduce interference. Another example of cabled wired media, which is a type of transmission media, is fiber optic. Now, what does fiber optic means? And it's an example of a cabled wired media. Now, a fiber optic cable transmits data as light pulse through very thin strands of glass or plastic fibers. Because data travels as light, fiber optics can carry large amounts of data at very high speed over long distances with minimal loss. Now, example of fiber optic use would be, let's look at the internet backbone connection. The main infrastructure of the internet uses single-mode fiber optic cables to transmit huge amounts of data across countries and continents. Now, what do we mean by, we're going to look at another example of cable wired media, which is a coaxial cable media. Coaxial cable is a type of wired transmission medium that consists of a single copper conductor at its center. It's surrounded by an insulating layer, a metallic shield, and an outer plastic cover. Now, when it comes on to coaxial cable, it is said that they provide good protection against interference. They can carry signals over longer distance than twisted pair cables. Also, the coaxial media supports higher bandwidth than twisted pair cables. All right, now we are going to look at what do we mean by wireless media? So if you're asked about wireless media on the paper, the types of wireless media are satellite, microwave, and infrared. The types of wireless media are satellite, microwave, and infrared. Now we're going to explain each one of these. Wireless media transmit data through the air or space without using physical cables. Now the data signals are sent using electromagnetic waves. Now, what are the types of wireless media? They are, let me see if you remember, satellite, microwave, and infrared. Now, let's look at satellite communication, how it works. Now, satellites orbiting the Earth receives signals from one point and transmit them to another point on Earth, enabling long-distance communication. Example of use, so when you have a global TV broadcasting, example satellite or TV, that would be an example of satellite communication. The internet services in remote areas, that would be an example of satellite communication. And also GPS navigation system would also be an example of satellite communication. What do we mean by microwave transmission? How it works? So microwave signals are transmitted in straight lines between two fixed points using microwave antennas. Now, so the microwave transmission, it's a long distance. For example, telephone calls. When you're making long distance telephone calls, it is microwave transmission that that uses the microwave antennas so you can communicate with families and friends. Another use of microwave transmission is wireless internet that links between buildings or cellular network. All right. Now we're going to look at infrared communication, how it works. So infrared uses light waves just beyond visible red light to transmit data over short distances. Example of use would be remote controls for TVs and air conditioners, short-range communication between devices like smartphones and laptops. They utilizes infrared communication. So if they ask you about the type of transmission media, they are cabled wired media, example coaxial, fiber optic, and twisted pair. Number two type of transmission media, wireless media, example satellite, microwave, and infrared. And the last type of transmission media is wireless network technology, which includes Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, hotspot, modem, bandwidth, and the list goes on. So we're going to look at that. Now, wireless network technology allows devices to connect and communicate without using physical cables. So the data is transmitted through radio waves or other wireless signals. Examples of wireless network technology includes Bluetooth. What is Bluetooth? It's just a short-range wireless technology that is used to connect devices within a small area, usually up to 10 meters. Now, what do we commonly use Bluetooth for? For connecting wireless headphones, we use Bluetooth speakers, keyboards, or for sharing files between phones. Now, we're going to explain Wi-Fi, which is another example of wireless network technology. Now, a Wi-Fi technology provides high-speed internet and network access within a local area like homes, cafes, or offices. Now, common uses of Wi-Fi: connecting laptop, smartphone, smart devices to the internet without cables. All right, another example of wireless network technology would be the modem, and this is the last one that we're going to look at. Now, modem is a device that covers digital data from a computer into signals suitable for a transmission medium and vice versa. Now, what do we use modems for? Modems are used to connect homes or businesses to the internet along cable, DSL, or fiber optic or wireless signals. Alright, so the rest of them, guys, you can do your own research because we want to make the video as short as possible and we want to complete as much content as possible. Alright, so we're going to distinguish among internet, intranet, and extranet. Alright, now let's look at the internet first. Now, the internet is a global public network that connects millions of private, public, academic, business, and government networks worldwide. It allows anyone with access to connect and share information globally. Now, the internet is used by the general public to browse websites, send emails, stream videos, use social media, etc. Now, the internet can be public and open to anyone with an internet connection. Access can be public and open to anyone with an internet connection. What do we mean by intranet? An intranet is a private network accessible only to an organization members, employees, or others with authorization. It uses internet technologies like web browsers and servers, but is restricted to internet use. So the intranet would be used to share companies' information, resources, internal communication, and collaboration within an organization. What do we mean by extranet? An extranet is a private network that allows controlled access to outsiders such as business partners, suppliers, or customers to a part of an organization intranet. So the use it facilitates collaboration and communication between a company and its external partners while keeping sensitive information protected. Have you ever been to a bank and you realize that you can connect your internet to the bank's internet? So the bank has this internet. When you go inside the bank, you can connect to it. It asks you, what does it ask for again? It asks you for some simple information. You put that in, and then automatically you are connected to the internet. All right, so that would be an example of extranet. Now, explain the concepts associated with the internet. So, for exam purposes, you must know the following words and what they mean. All right, so we're going to go through a few of them I can't promise that we're going to do all of these words, but we'll do as much as possible. And I know that you guys are familiar with most of these words, right? Because they are concepts that are associated with the internet. Now let's start with electronic mail, email. Now, electronic mail or email is a system that allows people to send and receive messages over the internet or other computer network. It works like traditional postal mail, but is much faster and digital. Example, sending a message from your Gmail or Outlook account to a friend is an example of electronic mail. What do we mean by news group? An online discussion forum where people post messages on specific topics that others can read and respond to. Example, a news group about gardening where members share tips and ask questions. Internet Relay Chat (IRC) is a form of real-time text messaging or chatting over the Internet. Users join channels or chat rooms to communicate instantly. Example, chatting with other users in a gaming community. So for those of you who love to play Minecraft or Roblox, you are able to chat with other users in while playing the game. Telnet, a network protocol used to remotely access another computer over the internet or a network. Example, logging into a remote server to manage files or software. File transfer protocol, a standard protocol used to transfer files between computers over a network like the internet. Example, uploading a website's file from a local computer to a web server. All right, which other terms can we look at? Let us look at blogging, writing and publishing articles or posts on the internet usually on a personal or professional website called a blog. Example, writing about travel experiences or technology reviews online. Let me see if we can do a few more. All right, let's look at bulletin board system, BBS, an early form of online community where users could post messages, share files, and discuss topics before the modern internet. Example, a computer running a bulletin board system that users dial into using a modem in the 1980s. All right. Do you want to look at one more? Let's look at markup language. A markup language is a set of rules for encoding documents in a format that computers can read and display. Especially for web pages, it uses tags to define elements in headings, paragraph, links, images, etc. Now, a type of markup language is HTML, which is hypertext markup language, the standard language that is used to create and design web pages on the internet and intranet. All right. XHTML, which is also a type of hypertext markup language, means extensible hypertext markup language, and it is a stricter, more standardized version of HTML that follows extensible markup language rules for better consistency and compatibility. All right, so the rest of words maybe you are familiar with already, so we're going to move on. Describe measures to secure data and maintain data integrity. So some measures that are used to secure data and maintain data integrity are software restrictions. Example, passwords, encryption, virus protection, firewall, physical area access restrictions, biometric systems, guards, locks, backup and recover procedures, fire waterproof cabinets. All those are examples that are used to secure data and maintain data integrity. All right, but the syllabus says we are to describe So we are going to see if we can look at about 4 of these. Now, the first measure that we are going to look at that is used to secure data and maintain data integrity is encryption. Now, encryption is the process of converting data into a coded format that can only be read by someone with the correct decryption key. Now, the purpose of encryption is to prevent unauthorized access to sensitive data, example passwords or financial records. So example of encryption would be sending encrypted mails or storing encrypted files on a computer. Another measure that can be used to secure data and maintain data integrity is virus protection and antivirus software. Now, antivirus software detects, prevents, and removes harmful software, viruses, worms, malware that can corrupt or steal data. Now, the purpose of virus protection is to protect the integrity and confidentiality of files. Example using antivirus programs like Norton or Windows Defender that can be used to detect, prevent, and remove harmful software from your computer or from your smartphone. Another measure that can be used to secure data and maintain data integrity is biometric systems. Now, security systems that uses physical characteristics like fingerprints, retina scans, facial recognition to verify a user's identity. Now, biometric systems ensures only authorized individuals can access sensitive data or devices. Example, for some of us, we have like fingerprint login on our laptops or on our phones. Some of us, we have facial recognition, so no one can access our phone. The only way our phone can be accessed if our face is held up, the phone is held up to our face for it to recognize it. All right, so those are examples of biometric systems. Now, a final one that we're going to look at is file waterproof cabinets, and these are physical security. Now, special cabinets are designed to protect physical documents from fire, water, theft, and damage. Now, the purpose of a file waterproof cabinet is to maintain the physical security and integrity of printed records. Example, storing legal contracts, employees' records, or backup disks in fireproof, waterproof filing cabinets. So if there's a fire, the cabinet is still there standing with the documents. If it's water, the documents will not be destroyed because the cabinet is waterproof. All right, so the rest of them, guys, you can look up the different measures that can be used to secure data and maintain integrity. So if you get that question, please remember these are the measures that you are to write about. Next, we're going to look at applications and no, we're still continuing with applications and implications of information and communication technology. Now, we're going to look at applications and implications now. Now, we're going to outline ways by which information can be misused. If you get a question asking about ways that information can be misused, the syllabus expect us to write about violation of privacy, propaganda, software piracy, computer fraud, electronic eavesdropping, industrial espionage, surveillance, storage of inaccurate information, identity theft, credit card fraud. So if you are asked to outline ways by which information can be misused, these are the ways that you should write about. Now we're going to describe appropriate hardware and software to meet the particular needs of a given application. Now we're going to look at projects to determine the relevant hardware and software, open source versus proprietary, using areas including business, industry, science and technology, education, law enforcement, recreation, music, and gaming. Now, when we talk about hardware, we're talking about the physical components of a computer system. Example, CPU, the RAM, the hard drive, the keyboard, etc. When we talk about software, we are referring to programs or applications that perform specific tasks. Example, word processors, databases, operating systems. Now, to choose appropriate tools, we have to consider the tasks to be completed, the complexity and required processing power, and also user preferences, whether the user wants it as an open source or versus a proprietary. Now, let's look at comparing the user source preferences, whether the user prefer to use an open source or proprietary. Now, open source means that it's free to use, modify, and share. Proprietary, it's owned by companies, license use only. For open source, it's community driven. Proprietary is professional, community backed. Now we are going to look at describing hardware and software to meet the particular needs of, let's start with businesses. Now, purpose of hardware and software in a business is office work, accounting, presentation, data management. The hardware would be using desktop, PCs, laptops, services, or printers. What would be the software in a business in terms of open source? It will be LibreOffice, Cache, and Jitsi Meet. The proprietary would be Microsoft Word, QuickBook, and Zoom. Let's look at hardware and software and how it is used in an industry. And when we're talking about industry here, we are looking at manufacturing and production. Now, the purpose of hardware and software in an industry would be automation to design, data analysis, inventory management. Now, the hardware that would be used in an industry such as a manufacturing or production industry, or they would use like robots, sensors, barcode scanners, etc. The software that would be used in an industry in terms of proprietary includes SAP or AutoCAD. When it's open source, it's like Odoo or FreeCAD. When it comes down to science and technology, the purpose of hardware and software is data analysis, stimulation, research documentation. So the hardware that will be used in science and technology could include high performance computers, lab instruments, 3D printers. The software in terms of proprietary or open source would be, for open source it could be Octave, for proprietary it could be ChemJaw. In education, the purpose of hardware and software is learning. It is used in virtual classroom and to create assignment. The hardware that is used includes laptops, projectors, tablets, smart boards. The software in terms of proprietary would be like Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. The open source would be like Moodle, OpenBoard, or Only Office. All right, so we are going to stop there. The only one I did not look at, let me look at a few more. Let's look at music. So the purpose of hardware and software to meet the particular needs of people in music includes recording, mixing, composing music. Now the hardware that would be used would be MIDI controllers. They could be using microphones or sound cards. The software in terms of proprietary would be FL Studio, Pro Tools. In terms of open source, they could be using Audacity, Ardor to make music or to record or to mix music. In terms of gaming, hardware and software, the purpose is to playing, developing and designing games. The hardware that would be used including gaming PCs, consoles, VR sets, and what else they use in gaming? Which other art set? Hardware, GPUs. In terms of software, proprietary, Unity game engine, Steam game platform, open source would be RetroArch, which is an emulator. All right. So you can look at, I think the only one we did not look at is law enforcement and recreation. But if you get a question asking you to describe the appropriate hardware and software to meet the particular needs of a given application, this is the answer that is expected of you. So you could talk about the purpose of hardware and software in businesses, industry, recreation, etc. Then you could talk about the hardware that would be used in each of these. And then you could talk about the software in terms of proprietary or source. All right. Now, guys, please remember to like and leave a comment on this video. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And guys, please remember to watch the ads in order to support my channel. Now we're going to look at describing current and emerging technological trends. So examples of current and emerging technological trends today are expert systems, robots, CADD, CAE, CAM, telemarketing, and teleconferencing. Now let's look at what is an expert system. Now, an expert system is a type of computer program that mimics the decision-making abilities of human expert. Does that sound familiar? It uses a knowledge-based and an inference engine reasoning system to solve complex problems or provides recommendation in a specific field. Now, expert systems, they are based on artificial intelligence, AI. How many of you are using AIs on your phone and your computers and all that? It's a new and emerging current technological trend. It provides reasoning and explanations and support human decision making. All right, so we're going to look at another. So once you see expert systems, you're writing about AI, okay? Describe current and emerging technological trends. We're going to look at robots. Now, robots are programmable machines designed to carry out specific tasks, either on their own or under human control. They often combine mechanical systems, sensors, and artificial intelligence (AI) to interact with the environment and complete physical tasks. All right. Now, why do we need robots? Do we really need robots? Well, robots are technological trends. They're happening now, right? So, rapid development in AI, machine learning, and sensor technology has made robots smarter. Increasing use of robots in industries such as healthcare, manufacturing, agriculture, and retail. Robots improve efficiency, accuracy, and safety in both routine and dangerous jobs. Do you hear that, guys? All right, another trend that we're going to look at, let's look at CADD and CAE. What is CADD? This abbreviation means Computer Aided Design and Drafting. Now, CADD is the use of computer software to design and create technical drawings and detailed blueprints. All right, it is combined of CAD, computer aided design, for creating models and drafting tools for adding dimensions, annotations, and other technical details. Now, what's the use of CADD as a emerging and current technological trend? It is used by architects to do building designs. It is used by mechanical engineers for machine parts. It is used by civil engineers for road and bridge layout. And it is used in electronics for circuit design. All right. The benefits of CADD increases accuracy. It makes easy edits and updates compared to manual drafting. Now, what do we mean by CAE, which is computer aided engineering? And this is a new and emerging trend. Now, CAE refers to software tools used to stimulate and analyze our product will perform under real world conditions like pressure, heat, or stress. Now, what are the uses of computer-aided engineering? It is used for testing the strength of materials, stimulating fuel flow, analyzing heat transfer, and evaluating performance-based business prototypes. All right, we can look at two more. Let's just look at teleconferencing and telemarketing. So telemarketing is the use of the telephone, internet, or other communication systems to market products or services directly to customers. Now, why is this a technological trend? The telephone has automated dialers, AI-powered chatbots, customer relation management systems, data analysis to target customers. Now, banks are calling customers to offer loans or credit card upgrades. You answer the phone, it's an automated dialer, right? So they're talking to you, but you cannot talk back to them because it's like the operator who's talking to you. In e-commerce, we have companies promoting discounts through SMS or voice calls. So you will get text messages on your phone promoting a store or what they sell, or if they're having discounts or whatever is happening at the store, you'll get a message, a automatic message on your automated message on your phone. All right. The benefits of using telemarketing is it reaches a large audience quickly, personalized customer engagement, and it's cost effective, making good tools. All right. So now we're going to look at assess the impact of information technology on job skills and careers. To answer these questions, we are going to look at computer skills used by office employees, teachers, engineers, medical personnel, and we're not going to go through all of them. We're just going to look at a few. Loss of jobs, retraining, and telecommuting. All right, we're going to look at a few of the impact of technology, information technology on job skills and career. Now, information technology (IT), as we can all agree on this, has significantly transformed the modern workplace, reshaping job roles, required skills, employment opportunities, and work environments. While it has opened new career paths and improved efficiency, it has also led to job displacement and the needs for continuous retraining. Now we're going to look at computer skills used by office employees, teachers, engineers, medical personnel, mass media personnel, etc. Now, modern office workers rely heavily on IT for daily tasks. That's true. So some common skills include When for the computer office employees doing word processing, they would use Microsoft Word, Google Docs for writing reports and letters. If they are creating a spreadsheet, they would be using Microsoft Excel. For budgeting, if they are presenting software, they would be using a PowerPoint, Canva for creating business presentation. Email, they'd be looking Gmail, using Gmail, Outlook. If they're doing data entry and databases, they'll be accessing CRM software for storing and retrieving information. Now, the syllabus also says that we are to look at loss of jobs due to automation and IT. So with the rise of automation and artificial intelligence (AI), many routine and repetitive jobs are disappearing. Example, bank tellers, and we're seeing this happening today. They are being replaced by ATMs and online banking. Data entry clerks are reduced due to automated forms and AI. Factory workers are replaced by robots and automated machines. Now, we're going to look at retraining, need for retraining and reskilling. Now, as technology evolves, employees must learn new tools and systems to remain employable. So, as technology evolves, employers must learn new tools and systems to remain employable. Example, a secretary retraining to use Google Workspace and Zoom. A warehouse worker learning to operate robotic inventory system. Teachers being trained to use learning management systems such as LMS like Moodle or computer classroom. Alright, now we're going to look at, I did promise, did I say I was going to look at telecommuting? Alright, let us look at telecommuting as one of the current trends in technology on job skills and career. So telecommuting, also called remote work, working from home, is when employees use technology to perform their jobs outside of the traditional office, usually from home. So they will use in tools using telecommuting. You're working from home. You'll be using your video conferencing, such as Zoom or Microsoft Teams. You will be sending email and messaging. On Gmail, you could be using cloud storage on Google Drive or Dropbox, remote access on remote desktop software. Now, the benefits of telecommuting is its flexible work hours, it reduces commuting time and expenses, access to job from anywhere in the world, and it's better work-life balance. All right. So now we are going to look at, guys, I hope you're learning, guys. Follow the syllabus, guys, and you'll get that grade 1 that you so rightfully deserve. All right, we're going to describe the roles of various personnel in the computer related field. And we're not going to look at all of them, guys. So we're going to look at the functions of individuals in computer related fields, and I'm going to look at about 4 of them. But if you are asked these questions, these are all the personnel that you could write about and their roles when it comes on to computer related professions. Now, I'm going to look at programmers. What are the roles of programmers in computer-related professions? Now, their role is to write, test, and maintain the code that makes software and application easy. So programmers are responsible for converting software designs into code using programming language. They are responsible to debug and fix errors in code, update and improve existing software. So for example, a programmer might write the code for a mobile app or an online game. The next one we're going to look at is IT managers. Their role are to oversee the IT department and ensure that the organization's technology infrastructure supports business goals. So some of their responsibilities would also include to plan, coordinate, and direct IT-related activities, manage IT staff and projects, set IT policies and security measures. All right, let's look at the role of the software engineers. And their role is to design, develop, and test complex software systems and applications, focusing on both functionality and performance. Developers, their roles is to create and maintain websites and web applications to ensure they are functional, user-friendly, and visually appealing. All right, guys, so these are just some of the personnels that work in the computer-related professions. All right, let's go to section 5 and we are going down nicely, guys. I hope you are learning something that will assist you in getting that grade 1 that you deserve. Guys, please remember to like and comment on this video. Also, guys, remember to subscribe and to watch the ads that appears on the video. All right. Section 5. So those of you who plans to do section 5, you will be getting questions from information processing. Now, students should be able to distinguish between data and information. Now, data as raw and processed facts, information as processed data. So we're going to explain that. So we are going to distinguish between data and information. So in your distinction, you should be able to cite data as raw unprocessed facts, while information as processed data. Now, what do we mean by data as raw unprocessed facts? Now, raw data refers to unorganized, unprocessed facts and figures collected from various sources. It has no meaning on its own until it is processed or analyzed. Example, a list of numbers like 25, 40, 18, 52, just values with no context. A collection of names, data, or surveys, answers not yet organized. So all those will be referred to as raw and processed facts. Now, processed data is raw data that has been organized, structured, or analyzed to make it meaningful and useful for decision making. Example, average test score of a class calculated from raw scores. A sales report showing total sales by region after processing individual transaction. All right. Now we are going to explain the characteristics and functions of information processing. Now, the forms of information processing are automation, process control, commercial, industrial, and scientific data processing, information retrieval, and management. Now we are going to try and explain these as much as possible. Now, information processing systems have certain important qualities. Accuracy. The data and information must be correct and free from errors. Completeness. All necessary data must be included to make information meaningful. Information processing. Information should be unified and reliable across different systems and times. Now, let us look at the forms of information processing. So we're going to look at the forms of information processing. And the first one is automation. And this is just using machines or computers to perform tasks automatically without human intervention. Process control, using computers to monitor and control industrial processes, commercial data processing, handling business-related data like sales, payroll, and inventory, industrial data processing, managing data related to production and manufacturing operations, scientific data processing, processing experimental or research data in science and engineering. Alright, information retrieval, searching and obtaining relevant information from large database, information management, organizing, storing and maintaining data and information effectively. So if you're asked to write about the characteristics and functions of information processing, these are what you are going to explain. Identify the source of data in specific application areas. So the source of data when it comes on to source document, turnaround document, machine, and human readable document. So if you're asked about the sources of data in specific application areas, these are what you're going to talk about. Now we're going to look at sources of data in specific application areas, such as source document. Now, a source document is an original paper or electronic document where data is first recorded before processing. Example, in business, you have invoices or sales receipt that are used to record a sale. If you go to the healthcare as a patient, you may be given a patient admission form. So it's an original paper or electronic document where data is first recorded before processing. Another source of data in specific application area is turn-around document, and these are documents that are sent to a user or customer that after being filled out or annotated are returned as input for processing. Example, utility bills, they are sent to customers who return payment details. Another example of turnaround document would be shipping labels, printed and filed during delivery, then scanned back into the system. Time cards given to employees, filed with hours work and returned for payroll processing. Another source of data in application area would be machines. So data generated automatically by machines or devices without human intervention. Example, barcode scanners reading product codes or checkout, sensors recording temperature in factories or weather stations, even the ATM machines capturing transaction data. All right, let's see if we can look at, did we get all of them? I think we did. So if you're asked about the source of data in specific application areas, you are going to explain these right here. All right, describe methods of validation and verification of data. So to answer this question, we're going to look at difference between validation and verification, methods, example range check, reasonableness checks, data type checks, inconsistency checks. Now the difference between validation and verification are: validation ensure data entered is correct and reasonable before processing. Verification confirms that data entered matches the original source accurately. Validation happens at the point of data entry or input. Verification happens after data entry, comparing input against source documents. For validation, the focus is on checking if data makes sense. For verification, the focus is on checking if data was entered correctly, accuracy. Alright, now what are the methods of validation? What are the methods of validation? The validation is about preventing bad data or error from entering the system. So some common methods used to check validation are range check. These are checks with numeric data falls within a specific range. Example, age entered must be between 0 and 120. A temperature reading must be between 50 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius negative. Another method of validation of data is reasonability check, and this verifies if the data entered is reasonable or logical based on related data. Example, if a person age is entered as 5, then their job title should not be manager. Another form of methods of validation of data is the data type check, which ensures data entered is one of the correct type. Example, numeric, alphabetical, or date. Example, a phone number field should only accept numbers, not letters. Another form of validation check is inconsistency check, and these are checks for conflicts or contradictions within data fields. Example, if marital status is single, the spouse name file should be empty. Methods of verification of data are, so verification methods ensure that the data input matches the original data. Now, examples of our methods of verification of data are double data entry. And this is two people entering the same data independently and compare results. Also, you could have proofreading, checking data entries against source documents manually. Alright, so those were the methods of validation and verification of data. So you'll talk about range check, reasonability check, data type check, and inconsistency check. We're going to look at describing various methods of file organization and access. Now, to answer this question, we are going to look at what are the various methods of file organization and access. These include sequential field ordering, random, index sequential, direct access, and sequential access. So we're going to explain all of this as methods of file organization and access. Now, when we talk about file organization, we are reference to how data is stored in a file and access methods described how that data is retrieved. So the first method of file organization and access is sequential file organization. Now, records are stored one after the other in a specific order, usually by key field. Now, the access method would be the sequential access, where data is read one record at a time from the beginning to the end. Example, a payroll file sorted by employee ID, where all the records are processed every payday. Another method of file organization and access is direct or random file organization. So records are stored at specific locations using a calculation and a key field. Data can be accessed immediately using its unique key without reading previous records. Example, bank customers' records accessed by account number using a hash function. Index sequential file organization, another method, combines both sequential and direct access. Records are stored sequentially, but an index is used to quickly locate blocks of randoms. Sequential field ordering, a type of logical order where data is organized based on one or more key fields. So data is organized based on one or more key fields, example by last name or ID number. Example, employee records are sorted by departments and then by last name. Alright, so that's it guys. So we have looked at the various methods of file organization and access, which include sequential field ordering, random, index sequential, direct access, and sequence access. Alright guys, so we're going to stop right here for today. This is part 2 of the ITD, the Information Technology syllabus marathon. So please remember to leave a comment, guys. Like the video, leave a comment, share the video, and subscribe if you have not yet do so. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. Okay, guys? Alright, see you in part 3 of this video.